What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And I can't believe I'm saying this. We are a day away from the National Hockey League season, everyone. Just think about that. We are one day away from having over 100 plus days until basically the beginning of May with complete NHL action. It's amazing. And my blood is boiling. I am so excited right now. It's just simply amazing that we're getting the NHL action back tomorrow, basically. In your first game of the day tomorrow, the Philadelphia Flyers, Pittsburgh Penguins, 5:30, Wells Fargo Center. Yes, it's a very odd time at 5:30, but I don't care whatsoever. Flyers hockey is back, and I can't be more excited about that. And we talked about this in a couple videos ago on Sunday about the scrimmage game. It was a very entertaining time. A lot of players that stood out, a lot of things that were very interesting as well. So we're going to get into a lot of topics today, talking about the way the roster is most likely going to be set up. The rosters right now, they're not fully set in stone. They're not going to be fully 100% confirmed until I think at least 10 minutes before tomorrow's game. So right now, when you look at Twitter and they're talking about the rosters at practice today, those are what most likely the roster is going to look like going into tomorrow to start the season. So it's going to be a very, very weird time. We're also going to be talking about some divisional predictions right now. It's going to be a very fun time. So let's talk about the way the Flyers roster is going to set up for, I would say, tomorrow. And basically, I would say for the first few games of the season, because this roster is interchangeable. In total, you can have 23 players on your roster plus the taxi squad. So who knows if there's players that are interchanging. A lot of the players that were placed on waivers for the taxi squad have cleared waivers, so no one has been claimed from the Flyers, so that is a very good sign to see right there. But just looking at the roster as a whole right now, what could we expect the lines to look like? The forward pairs, the defensive pairings, even the power play pairings at first. So this is coming from Bill Meltzer when he's looking at Flyers practice today. So these are the way the forward lines have been looking up, and these honestly have been the same for the past few practices. So this is probably what it's going to look like going into the start of the season. So we got the first line. We got Oscar Lindblom, Sean Couturier, and Travis Konecny. This was a line that started the season last year, so find something that has some chemistry, find something that worked last year. I like it. Oscar Lindblom's getting a chance, and that's very great sight to see. Oscar Lindblom on the great start that he had last year, then gets diagnosed with cancer, comes back during the playoffs, beats cancer, and then now he's going to start the season, which most likely is going to be the first line for the Philadelphia Flyers. That is just an incredible story right there. I'm hoping for Oscar Lindblom to have a fantastic season. I think he's going to have a fantastic season. And yes, a lot of this is going to be a lot of optimism right now, but I don't care whatsoever. It's a fun time. It's NHL hockey. It's Flyers hockey. It's very, very exciting. Sean Couturier, your reigning Selke Trophy winner, definitely expected him to be on the first line, your first line center, so there's no questions about that, no concerns whatsoever. Travis Konecny had more of a breakout season last year, was the Flyers' leading point scorer, really didn't do much during the playoffs. He was kind of getting shut down a little bit right there, so definitely there's going to be some type of chip on his shoulder right there to prove himself even more, so I can expect him to bounce back from that and maybe have a great season leading into the playoffs. And then looking at your second line right here, got Claude Giroux, Kevin Hayes, and Joel Farabee. Now, this is an interesting line. Now, during the scrimmage on Sunday, this line scored both goals for the Orange team, and they made some nice, fantastic passing plays, especially on that first goal. Joel Farabee setting up Claude Giroux, who set up Kevin Hayes for a wicked one-timer, beating Carter Hart. From that game and from what the practices have looked like, these guys have some chemistry going right here. So Claude Giroux, no questions about him. Really, the only thing that you can say that's concerning is that he is getting older. So how is he going to progress as he gets older? Even though Claude Giroux says he feels like he's in the best shape that he's ever been over the past few seasons, so that's a bright sign right there. And then with Kevin Hayes, fantastic first season with the Flyers last year. Definitely looking on him to continue his pace on what he did last season. Awesome penalty killing, just being a clutch goal scorer for us, and just being an all-around great two-way player for us. And right now, that contract right now is looking really good for the Flyers. Even though it's still technically a lot of money, for right now, it's working for us at the Philadelphia Flyers. And also Joel Farabee being on that second line. So last year, Joel Farabee's rookie season, he impressed a little bit. Definitely wasn't that much on the scoring sheet, but there definitely was an adjustment period for him, but it was nice to see him basically on the forward core every single night in and night out, knowing that Alain Vigneault is giving him a chance to prove himself. And this is also especially a chance to prove himself right here, being slotted on the second forward line with Claude Giroux and Kevin Hayes. So he changes his number to 86. I'm definitely expecting some type of breakout season from Joel Farabee. I think one of these players is definitely going to have some type of breakout season, and we'll get into some other players later. Like I said, Oscar Lindblom, Travis Konechny. I do expect Joel Farabee to do something better this season, if that's breaking out, scoring more points. Definitely, I'm very excited to see what Joel Farabee can do. Now going to the third line. In this third line, if this is what it's going to be for the regular season, this looks really good. James Van Riemsdyk, Nolan Patrick, and Jake Voracek. Now, going into last season with James Van Riemsdyk, he was basically third line. He was interchanged throughout the entire lineup, but you mainly saw him on third line, fourth line, even sometimes healthy scratch, especially in the playoffs. And Alain Vigneault, he called him out a ton last season for not producing to what he is capable to. So now you put him on a third line, but last year when you saw him on the third line, he was playing with guys like Scott Laughton, Michael Raffl. Not saying they're two bad players, it's just not guys that you would expect James Van Riemsdyk to score 30 goals on a line with. So now that you're pairing him with guys like a Nolan Patrick, a Jake Voracek, guys that can get him the puck, guys that can drive the play and set up plays, I think it's going to be a much better season for James Van Riemsdyk, and he's also playing against the lower lines on different teams, so maybe that can be something really better for this line, that basically they could be especially top line players on other teams, but you're playing them on the third line, and it's shaping up to be a really good third line, and just the depth of this team is amazing. And then going to a guy like Nolan Patrick, this kid hasn't played basically for over a year, with missing out the entirety of last season with his migraine issues, and now he's coming back into this camp. He's in shape. He looks really good. He looked really good in the scrimmage with Voracek and JVR on Sunday. So I'm very excited to see what Nolan Patrick can do this season. He looks a lot faster. He looks confident. Even though it's only been practices and scrimmages, gotta have some optimism for the kid right here. Even though there's a lot of people that are doubting him right now, I'm one of the ones that's more optimistic for Nolan Patrick, so I can't wait to see what he can do for this season. Also going into Jake Voracek. Jake Voracek, he's also a guy that's been flip-flopped throughout the lineup. He can play first line, second line, third line, whatever you put him at. And I feel like also playing on this line with JVR and Nolan Patrick, it's going to be something that can benefit Voracek playing against lesser forwards from different teams. So this third line is going to be very interesting. So it's going to be very fun to watch, but also very interesting at the same time. And then your fourth line, it looks like it's going to be shaping up with Michael Raffl, Scott Laughton, Nicolas Aube-Kubel. This feels like just that typical grinder type of line. Those are the guys that are going to eat up some type of minutes when other lines are tired, get into the faces of the opponent, make them annoyed, make them angry, and hey, maybe they can chip in a few goals here and there. Nicolas Aube-Kubel, he has one hell of a shot. He can score. Same thing with Scott Laughton. He can score as well. Hell, even Michael Raffl can score at will when he wants to. So this is a good fourth line, a very grindy, gritty type of line, but they can also put the puck into the net. And that was basically the same thing with the Flyers last year. They could roll four lines out. All four lines can score. Now, there's no doubt that they can do that this season with all four of these lines. But the real question is, going into the playoffs, if they do make the playoffs, which I do expect them to, can they keep up that type of pace going into the playoffs? And that's going to be one of the major questions for this team this season. And since I said they can carry 13 forwards now, it looks like right now, from all the speculation with the reporters at the practice right now, it looks like Morgan Frost is going to be that 13th forward right there. Even I have a lot of high hopes for Morgan Frost. I am not doubting this kid whatsoever. I know a lot of people were kind of upset that he didn't make the roster outright out of camp, but if you look at the team right now, if you look at the way the forwards are shaped out, he was not beating out any guy on this roster. He wasn't going to beat out Lindblom, Couturier, Konechny, Giroux, Hayes, Farabee, JVR, Patrick, Voracek, Raffl, Laughton, Nicolas Aube-Kubel. He wasn't going to beat out any of those guys. So people, I think, still need to be a little bit patient with Morgan Frost. He's a guy that has a lot of upside. He has high-end potential. He could be a scorer in this league. And he's still very young. He's only 20, 21 years old. There is still plenty of room to grow for him right there. And he's definitely going to get some line time. These lines, like I said, they aren't set in stone. There's definitely going to be some mix mashing throughout the first couple of games of the season, since you really didn't have any preseason to work with. So you got to find what lines have the chemistry right here. So definitely you can see Morgan Frost slotted in there just if one line doesn't work out right there, or in case one player is struggling. So that's something to look out for right there. So if we get into the defensive core right now, I'll get into the power play after that. So the defense, that's going to be the major question mark going into this season. You lost Matt Niskanen. That's a major hole to fill. And for what Matt Niskanen provided, helped Ivan Provorov bounce back from a very poor season. So it's going to be very difficult to replace that, but you also got to expect some of these younger guys to take the next step. Guys like Sanheim, guys like a Phil Myers. Are those guys going to take the next step? And if we look at the practices just throughout training camp, a lot of people expected Ivan Provorov to be possibly paired with Phil Myers on that top pairing. And we haven't seen those two guys really paired together at all during training camp or just anywhere at all. So that's one of those question marks is Alain Vigneault just really trying to keep Sanheim and Myers together to start the season off, and then eventually work a guy like a Phil Myers into that top pairing? That's something that we got to wait to see. So your top pairing right now is listed is Ivan Provorov and Justin Braun. Now, definitely, that is a downgrade, Justin Braun to Matt Niskanen. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about Justin Braun. I think he's just okay. This is definitely not going to be a top pairing that lasts for maybe like the first 2 or 3 games or something like that. It's just Alain Vigneault just putting something out there and see what works. Ivan Provorov, he can carry the load any night. He can play 25, 30 minutes, hell, even 40 minutes if he's available. He could probably play an entire 60 minutes if he wants to. That's just how good Ivan Provorov is. And he is still very young with a lot of room to grow as well. Still very young. I think that's what a lot of other people do forget too. This team is still very young. A lot of these players are still very, very young. And like I said, being paired with Justin Braun, not the best thing in the world, but it's something to work with. It definitely is. Your second pairing is Travis Sanheim, Phil Myers. They were a pairing that basically stayed the same in the entirety of last season. And they found a lot of chemistries. There were some bumps in the road. There were some very fantastic moments, especially in the playoffs. They were really good against Montreal, but they struggled a lot against New York. So definitely still a lot of room to grow there. These guys are very young as well. So a lot of excitement there, right there as well. So with the third pairing right now, what it's looking up to be is Robert Hägg and Erik Gustafsson. Flyers signed Erik Gustafsson this offseason, and basically, this guy wasn't going to replace Matt Niskanen. He was really going to be your second pairing, third pairing type of guy who can also quarterback a power play, most likely going to be on the second power play unit. And honestly, Erik Gustafsson, Shane Gostisbehere, they have a lot of similarities. Like I said, they can carry the puck, they can quarterback a power play, they're very highly offensive, not that good in their own zone. So I like the Erik Gustafsson pickup. I like him on the third pairing. He is also paired with Robert Hägg. So really, that's really what you expect right there. And then right now, your extra defensemen currently are Mark Friedman, which most likely he is going to make the roster, probably as the 8th or 7th defenseman. And right now, Nate Prosser is taking reps because we just haven't had any news about Shane Gostisbehere in the past couple of days. He hasn't been participating in practice. We don't know if it's like anything just injury related, anything COVID related. There just really hasn't been any news that has been discussed or disclosed. So hopefully everything is good right there with Shane Gostisbehere. Hopefully it's nothing COVID related. So that's just something we gotta wait to hear about. And I'm assuming Ghost is not going to be in the lineup tomorrow against the Penguins if he hasn't been practicing the past 2 days. That's what I just feel like right now. And your goaltending tandem going to be Carter Hart, Brian Elliott. It's going to be a very interesting season, and I like this roster a lot. This roster screams depth. Just look at that center core of Couturier, Kevin Hayes, Nolan Patrick, Scott Laughton. That is a great center core of depth right there. Your wingers, Lindblom, TK, Giroux, Farabee, JVR, Voracek, Raffle, Albi Kubel. That screams depth right there. And yeah, there's still like those concerns that the Flyers don't have this elite goal scorer yet. But like I said, the Flyers can roll out 4 lines. All 4 lines can score. The question is just going into the playoffs, can they keep up that type of pace? Can they keep up that type of consistency? That's what we got to wait and see. And that's what we got to wait and see what this team can do right here. A lot of players, I feel like they're being playing with some chips on their shoulders. This team is very confident in themselves this season. And hey, I am here for it. I am all here for it. And going into Carter Hart, he's the franchise goaltender of this team. He's an elite goaltender. He is still very, very young with a lot of room to grow. And like I said, he's still very good. But hey, there's still a lot of room to grow. Cause just imagine, the more room that he grows as he gets older, the better that he's going to get. This kid is fantastic. This kid is elite. He is going to be a stud for years to come. He's going to be one of the best goaltenders in the NHL for years to come. And he is still very young right now. Very excited for Carter Hart. Brian Elliott, he's a good veteran backup. He was very underrated last season. Even though the numbers didn't show that, He stepped in a little bit when Carter Hart got injured for a stretch of period of time before the All-Star break, won some key game for us, just played huge in net for us, and he was a good veteran backup and was a good mentor for Carter Hart. And these two, they mesh well together, and they have a good friendship and bond going there as well. So I like that. I like to see that a lot. So, like I said, very excited for the roster. So let's get into the divisions right now. So, like I said, the Eastern Division, that's going to be the toughest division in the NHL this year. Definitely the toughest. So your Eastern Division, you got the Boston Bruins, the Buffalo Sabres, New Jersey Devils, New York Islanders, New York Rangers, Philadelphia Flyers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Washington Capitals. How do I see this division shaping up? It's going to be very competitive. It's going to be very tough. I don't, even though I wouldn't say there's not one terrible team in this division. Yes, you can write out New Jersey as probably being in the last place team, but I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year. Buffalo, they got Taylor Hall, they got Eric Stahl, they have a really good top six. They still have a very young blue line too, so they can make some noise as well. And then you also got the two New York teams, the Islanders and the Rangers. The Islanders, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they're coached by Barry Trotz. They played the Barry Trotz style system. It's competitive hockey. It's in your nose hockey. Even though it's boring at sometimes, they win hockey games, and they're very tough to play against, so I wouldn't count out the Islanders either. The New York Rangers, they're a very young team. They got Igor Shesterkin in the net, who really shined last season. Even though he only played 12 games, he was fantastic in those games that he played for the Rangers. So they got a very young team, and also the first overall pick in Alexis Lafreniere. Let's see how he shapes up. Artemi Benarin and Mika Zibanejad. That team is going to be very young, very competitive, but right now I do think they're a little too young right now. But I'll get into that when I get into my predictions for this division. Flyers, I said enough about the Flyers already. With the Pittsburgh Penguins, they lost Matt Murray. They're going with Tristan Jarry in the net. They got Kasperi Kapanen from the Toronto Maple Leafs. I wouldn't count out a team that has Crosby and Malkin. I do feel like they're going to be taking a little bit of a step back right here just because they are getting older, and I feel like they just don't have as much depth, and you lose a starting goaltender in Matt Murray. Even though I'm not saying Tristan Jarry is a bad option, I just don't feel like in the long run that's the best option for the Penguins. So I feel like they are going to take a step back this year. Now with the Washington Capitals, you lost Braden Holtby. You're most likely going to have Ilya Samsonov as your backup. You also, not as the backup as the starting goaltender, but you also lost a backup in Henrik Lundqvist, who had open heart surgery, and praying that everything that went well, because it did go well for him. So right now, the backup situation, I'm assuming it's going to be Phoenix Copley or something like that. But when you have a team of Evgeny Kuznetsov, Alex Ovechkin, Nick Backstrom, Tom Wilson, the team is still going to be very competitive, and they also have Peter Laviolette as their new head coach. Peter Laviolette, usually the first time when he's with a team, they are going to be a really good team. They'll most likely make the playoffs. So I expect the Washington Capitals to be very competitive. Who knows if adjusting to a brand new system with Peter Laviolette is going to take some time to get adjusted to. But I don't expect the Washington Capitals to be out of it. They're going to be a very competitive team. And just going into this division right now with the way I see it playing out. And I also forgot to mention the Boston Bruins. They're the Boston Bruins. Even though they lost Zdeno Chara, Torrey Krug in free agency, they're still a tough team. They still have that top line in Bergeron, Pastrnak, and Marchand. Even though there's talks about with both Pastrnak and Marchand, they had major offseason surgeries. Marchand is looking like he is going to start this season earlier than expected in January. Pastrnak, it looks like he's not going to be starting until February, which is also earlier than expected. So I would say for the Bruins, maybe a slower start, but they're still going to be a dangerous team because they still have a great goaltending tandem in Tuukka Rask and Yaroslav Halak. They're going to be a very tough team to play against. So, as for this division right here, the way I predicted, yes, I do think the Flyers are going to be finishing in first place. That's just my honest opinion right there. Yes, it's biased, but I do not care. But going down the way of the rest of the division, I do feel like the Flyers are the better team in this division. But like I said, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be highly competitive. It's going to be a fantastic year, though. It's going to be a lot of entertaining hockey. Eastern Division matchups. It's going to be great. So like I said, first place, Philadelphia Flyers. Now second place, I'm going with the New York Islanders. I still, haven't really changed a lot this season. They signed Matthew Barzal to his next contract, so he's not going to be holding out. They did lose Johnny Boychuk to a really unexpected retirement right there, so maybe that's a loss on the blue line for them. But I still feel like they're going to be a good team. They also did lose Devon Taves to Colorado, so maybe there's a little bit of a change on the blue line right there, but I still feel like they're going to be a very competitive team. They also got they also got Varlamov, and that Sorokin kid that's coming over. He has a lot of hype towards his name. So watch out for the Islanders right there. Third place, I think I'm going to go with the... Ooh, that's tough. That is so tough. I think I'm going to go with the Washington Capitals. Just like I said, just don't count out the Capitals. I feel like they are still a very good team, and just watch out for them. Like I said, this division is going to be really hard to predict. It really is. And in fourth place, I'm really tied right now. I'm so tied between Boston, the Rangers, and the Penguins. You know, I'm going to go with Boston. I'm going to go with Boston in fourth place. Fifth place, I'll go with the Rangers. Sixth place, I'll go with the Penguins. Seventh place, I'll go with the Buffalo Sabres. In eighth place, I will go with the New Jersey Devils. Not saying Buffalo and New Jersey are going to be bad. They're just, I would say, not going to be as competitive as the rest of the teams are. Like I said, New Jersey, I think, is going to be a lot better than this year, but not good enough to make the playoffs. Buffalo might be a little more improved than last season, but probably not good enough to make the playoffs. But like I said, or honestly, just going into the season, any team that gets hot early on, basically, that's going to be their stretch for the rest of the season. If you get hot, you're going to have a chance to get into the playoffs, because that's how short this season is. And that's going to be very important for some teams. If you go on a little bit of a losing streak, that might take you out of it for a couple of points right there. So wins are key, points are key. Every win is crucial, especially against your own division. Now, going to the Central Division, I'm going to go breeze by these divisions really quickly. Carolina, Chicago, Columbus, Dallas, Detroit, Florida, Nashville, and Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to be the top team. They're just clearly the better team out of this entire division. Second place, I'm going to go with the Carolina Hurricanes. Third place, I'm going to go with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Fourth place, I'm going to go with the Florida Panthers. Fifth place, I'm going to go with the Dallas Stars. Sixth place, I'm going to go with the Nashville Predators. Seventh place, I'm going to go with the Chicago Blackhawks. And eighth place is going to be the Detroit Red Wings. And then moving on to the Western Division, you got the Anaheim Ducks. You got the Arizona Coyotes, Colorado Avalanche, Los Angeles Kings, Minnesota Wild, San Jose Sharks, St. Louis Blues, and Vegas Golden Knights. Now, looking at these divisions, it's going to be very tough right here because there's a lot of bad teams. There's a lot of very good teams as well. I'm going to go first place. I'm going to go with the Colorado Avalanche. Second place, Vegas Golden Knights. Third place, St. Louis Blues. That fourth place is going to be very tough. I'm going to go with Minnesota Wild. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Wild at fourth place. Fifth place, I'm going to say the San Jose Sharks. Sixth place, I'm going to say the Arizona Coyotes. Seventh place, I'm going to say the Los Angeles Kings. And eighth place, I'm going to say the Anaheim Ducks. Now, going to one of the more entertaining divisions in this league as well, the North Division, which is the Canadian Division. So we got the Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers, Montreal Canadiens, Ottawa Senators, Toronto Maple Leafs, Vancouver Canucks, and the Winnipeg Jets. Now, this is going to be a very entertaining division, Battle of Alberta, the Battle of Ontario. Just so many great matchups. Montreal basically versus any Canadian team at this point. It's going to be a very fun division. Now, as for predictions right here, I'm going to go with Toronto at 1. I feel like overall they're just the best team in this Northern Division. I feel like they're the better team out of Canada. That's just my honest opinion, I think, right here. Like I said, all opinions are subjective. So basically, you can have plenty of other prediction standings. This is just my own right here. Then I'm going with number 2. Like, this division is tough. This division is really tough to predict. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Vancouver Canucks. I'm going to say Vancouver Canucks at second place. Third place, I'm going to say the Edmonton Oilers. Fourth place, I'm going to say the Montreal Canadiens. Fifth place, I'm going to say the... Oh, you also can't rat out Calgary, too. Jeez, that's tough. Okay, I'm going to restart this. 1, Toronto. 2, Calgary. 3, Vancouver. 4, oh my god, this is tough. This is tough. 4, I'm going to say... Oof, this is tough. This is really, really tough. I'm just going to go on a limb. Edmonton. No, honestly, not Edmonton. Montreal. Montreal 4, Edmonton 5. Winnipeg. Oh my god, then you got Winnipeg 2. I'm just going to stick with it. Oh my god. It's a tough division to predict. Okay, let's just settle it right there. It's a tough division to predict. And the last place team is going to be the Ottawa Senators. It's so tough. It is so tough to predict this division because there are a lot of good teams in this division. They're really the only team you can count out of it is Ottawa. They're a really young team and they're just not there yet. Who knows? Maybe they can surprise a lot of people this year and make the playoffs. Like, all these divisions are clearly unpredictable. And that's the joy of hockey. So it's going to be a very fun time this season. A very fun time. So I want to get your thoughts on this video. What are your thoughts on the Flyers going into this season? What are your thoughts on the rest of the NHL? I want to hear your thoughts. So don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I am a part of. We'll be doing a lot of things during this Flyer season, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to check out the Flyer Up Podcast merchandise website, and also don't forget to check out the Flyer Up Podcast in general. We just had a live stream this afternoon with Hunter Brody from Sports Talk with Broads talking about this Flyer season. So that's very fun stuff right there, so don't forget to tune into that. And thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.